Hey everybody, this is Mr. B and you're watching Music Notes. On this episode, we are going to be exploring the MIDI region and all the amazing capabilities that it has. So let's check it out. This is the mighty MIDI region, and it is very flexible. We can do so much with it. So we're just going to be focused in on this region right here. Let me go ahead and this region right here. So let me go ahead and collapse the audio region as we're not going to use it. And let's just focus in on the MIDI region. So let's go ahead and listen to our MIDI region. I have this loop and its chords and a melody intertwined, and I have an instrument, and let me show you what we can do with our MIDI region. So let's listen to this from the beginning. This region is set to 80 BPM. It is currently 4 bars. Let's duplicate it. Okay, now I want to merge the regions. That means putting them both together into one long region. This is very easy to do. We can do this with both MIDI and audio. So let's highlight both of them and just press the letter G. There it is. So now they are one beautiful region. Okay, so now let's listen to our region. This is our region being played at 80 BPMs, and it's only 4 bars. Now let's time stretch it by pressing Option. And you can hear it as twice as slow. Make sure your snap to grid is on. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put that back. And those are really easy functions that we can do with MIDI. Okay, next I wanna show you guys what we can do inside of the MIDI region. We're going to go to the Edit tab. We can access the Edit tab 2 different ways. Double clicking on the region or actually just pressing the Edit tab. Now, once we're in the Edit tab, I want to show you some basic functions of MIDI. One, we can move notes anywhere that we would like them to be. We can change the length of notes. We can add notes, we can delete notes. So for example, if I have this, if I wanted it to be longer, I can stretch that out in either direction. We can also adjust the velocities, which are down below. If I wanted this to be not as loud as the other notes in the region, then I would lower those. Okay. Those are very basic functions of MIDI. Now I want to show you some other really cool things that we can do with MIDI. One of the most important, especially for this class, is going to make sure that everything is in the right keys. Wow, okay, how do we do that? Now, this tab right here is all about making sure that your scales and keys are all aligned up. This tab right here is where you assign your scale. For example, my key is in A minor. So up here, this is now my scale. Okay, I'm gonna leave this MIDI chords there, and I'm gonna actually open up a new instrument. And I'll just open an instance of MIDI. And I'll select a bass because now we'll make a bass that is going to align up with my chords. Remember, basses are monophonic. That means only one note is going to be played at a time. So if I'm going to actually pencil in my notes here and I want it to be in scale, watch this. This is very easy to do. And this is really going to be a game changer when you're trying to make your own bass lines and melodies. Okay, so right here, let me zoom in a little bit, is the pitch visibility. This is very exciting. So you can see like all of these notes right here are already in scale for A minor. And you can change your scale. You can change the type of scale that it is. You know, there's a lot of different types of scales. We're just gonna keep it natural minor. We can snap to the scale. So when I do that, you can see like all of these notes are in scale. Now, turns out with A minor, all these keys, the white keys, are in the scale. The black keys are not. See, if I'm pressing a black key, it does not make any noise. Could be because I have the snap to scale on. Now if I snap the scale, that same F sharp is not working. That's one really cool way to do it. Another super cool way is the visibility, because here I can see those black notes. Even though I can't select them, I can still see them because the visibility is selected on all. If I just select in scale, now look what happens. Only the in scale notes are even available to do. All right. Now I can simply put in some notes and hopefully that they're in the scale. If they're not, then I can move them to the right note. They're in scale. Okay, so the in scale feature is absolutely amazing, especially when you're just trying to throw some ideas up there. Okay, all of those are going to be in scale, and it really, really is great, especially for making melodies or counter melodies or even bass lines. And finally, the used ones are just going to be what is used. I think in scale, visibility, and having your snap to scale on is the game changer for making melodies and bass lines that are in scale with your chords. The next thing I want to show you is quantizing. Quantizing is moving when the DAW will move the notes into the nearest location specified by the user. This is very handy when you're playing it live and your finger and eye coordination isn't exactly in time with what is being played, or you have some latency issues. Quantizing is one of the most useful tools in MIDI creation. What it does is it'll move the note to the nearest bar that is selected. In this case, I have it selected to the 1/16th grid. Okay, let's just change this to the 1/2 note. How to quantize it? It's very easy. You just have the notes you want to quantize selected, and you just press Q. Now you see the notes move to the nearest half a bar because that's what I told it to. All I'm doing is pressing Q. Okay, that will quantize your notes. Now, sometimes quantizing's amazing and you want it to sound very electronic and robotic, but sometimes you want it to sound a little bit more natural or human. So we can humanize our notes as well. So I'm going to go ahead and quantize these. I just press Q. Now they're on every half note, but now I want them to be a little bit off grid, and it's really easy to do that. Have your notes selected, press Control, and then go to your musical functions And under the quantize section, you'll see that you have different kind of parameters. You can quantize it 50%, so it's not so exactly right on the grid. You can also freeze the quantizing or some other cool parameters. But I want to show you guys humanizing because I find it very useful and helpful. So if I go to humanizing, it'll show me I can adjust the velocity range. So the velocities are different. Like if somebody was actually playing a piano, their velocities are all going to be different. And the start and end range. And you can like move those around, which I think is actually super cool. Because what if I want my notes to be hitting a little bit? I don't want them too off, but I want my velocities to be wildly different. This will randomize it. So if I press OK, let's just see what it does to my MIDI data down here. Look at my velocities. They're all now a little bit different. And if we zoom in to my notes, they might look like they're exactly on the grid, but they're not. See how this one's just a little bit off? That's humanizing it because humans aren't perfect. Let's see how this one actually lined up. See how that one became a little bit off? If you zoom out, it's very hard to tell because I made the range very small for the note placement, and the velocities you can see are exaggerated some. So humanizing is a nice touch, especially when you don't want it to your notes to sound too robotic after quantizing them. Another super helpful function is transposing. Now, transposing is the moving of notes up or down. Now, I can just highlight them and just grab them and just move them to transpose them. But what if I want to transpose them up an octave? I can sit and I can see, okay, that's at C1, and then I can go ahead and try to find it, but there is a much faster option. So if you press Control, have your notes that you want transpose highlighted, press Control, and then go down to musical functions, and then go to transpose on the pitch. Okay. Now, when you do that, it'll give you these options, and trust me, this makes it super fast, especially if you have something and you want to transpose it up or down really quickly. Here's the octave. It's going to be the same note in a different octave, either 1 octave down or 2 octaves down, or 1 octave up or 2 octaves up. So if I want this just to be 1 octave down, watch my notes. There they go, 1 octave down. Okay, if I'm like, well, you know, maybe I want to transpose them 2 octaves up. Let's try that. So come over here, and you can see that in my recents, which is always super helpful, it's already located, my transpose. Let's transpose it 2 octaves up. And there it is, transposing octaves. Another cool thing that we can do with MIDI, which we can't do with audio, is to combine instruments. This is absolutely one of my favorite things to do. So if I have my MIDI region here, which is my original one that I was playing before, and this icon, the piano icon, which indicates that it is a MIDI instrument, if I select it, it'll show me whatever instrument it was. Okay, it's great, it's a keys, but I want to add another instrument to that and just make it sound more amazing. And we can do that by a splitter tool. And all we have to do is drag and drop another instrument right into this track, and it will ask us to combine them. And we are going to combine them. So let me go ahead and load up a MIDI, and I'll use a pad. And I'm not going to, I don't know what this sounds like, but I'm just going to load it up, and then it gives me this: replace, combine, or keep. Let's combine them. When we combine them, it splits both instruments into 2 equal pieces. So I can turn off. This is what the original MIDI with the original instrument sounds like. Here is the new instrument. And now together. Sounds so much better. And we can do so much to balance these out too. For example, if I wanted this volume to be down of the first instrument, which is my System 8, I can lower that. I can also add effects and inserts and sends on either of these and both of them. It's super diverse. We can do so much with splitting instruments on your MIDI track. I particularly love doing this. That's how you get very rich, detailed sounds that aren't just so singular, but when you hear these types of sounds in your favorite songs, just to know that they are not just one instrument, they are layered instruments. And you can really go in with precision and do all sorts of fun stuff. Like for example, if I have this, and I'm just gonna add some effects on my original instrument, okay? I'm gonna go down here and without knowing too much about what any of these effects has or does, they give me a list of presets. This is a great way to explore and see how chains, effects chains actually work. If I go to guitar and let me just pick out, I don't know, it could be literally anything, trippy AC. Let's just hear what that sounds like on. Oh, I have it on the wrong instrument. All right, let's put that on. Let's go to guitar and trippy AC. I don't know, it's an amp and a fat channel. Completely changes the sound, which is totally cool. All right, I just want you to see that you have extreme flexibility when it comes to your instruments and MIDI. Okay, the next thing I want to show you with MIDI is called note effects. If you open up your browser and in the instrument tab, which you've already learned through the browser tutorial, they've got this white line, and above here are these note effects. These are really, really awesome. So if I go to note effects and we have arpeggiator and quarter. Those are going to be the main two that you would be using. There's also a note repeater and an input filter, but let's just focus in on the arpeggiator and the quarter. An arpeggiator takes a chord and plays it in a pattern, not all at once. So, for example, on this MIDI, let me double click it. This is a chord. This is not. Let's just have a few chords playing here so I can show you exactly how this works. Let me just make sure that these are nice and balanced chords. Okay, that's gonna be good. Okay, now let's put the arpeggiator right on top of the track, drag and drop. There is a list. You can go upward motion, downward motion, up and down and up, random, and then you can also create your own specific type of arpeggiating pattern. You can have it on 16th notes, on 8th notes, etc., and all of these other kinds of dotted and triplets. So there's a lot of options, and it has some pretty cool presets too. So let me just show you what a upward motion in 1/8 would sound like. So cool. So that arpeggiating is an absolute must in so much production. Now let's see what the quarter does. Let's we have our Mai Tai down here, which is at a bass, but let's just put the quarter on it and see if we can make chords out of single notes. Yes, we can do that. That's what a quarter does. I can just play a single note and it'll make a chord out of the note. And you can also adjust what type of chord groups that you want to have and chord types. And it's really just an experimenting until you find some chords that you really like. Let's just listen to our second instrument with the quarter on there. Okay, you can see that the bass notes that I just played are out of the range for the actual quarter. You can change all of that. In this case, you know what I want to do? I want to transpose these notes up. Let's transpose them up. Let's see where they are. Okay, one semitone. All right, so remember how to do that. We go to Control, click, and transpose, and I'm just gonna say one octave, not semitone, octave. Okay, now let's see what the quarter does. Now I just made chords off of a single note. I wonder if we can put the arpeggiator on top of the quarter and see if that does anything. And there is the quarter. There is so much that we can do with MIDI. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I just wanted to introduce you to some of the capabilities and show you some of the basic functions that are going to get you going into the world of virtual instruments. Okay, I'll see you soon.